I have Jim Zecca, who is, Jim is referred to these days as a community advocate and a member of the campaign for re-election of Claudia Tenney, and, of course, a major supporter of the president, Jim Zecca. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, guys. How are you, Bill?
Wonderful. Did you hear? We have our congresswoman on this morning in about 15 minutes. We will be speaking
from the North Country, I hear.
That is absolutely correct. Elise Stefanik from the 21st Congressional District, who, by the way, I think is, I got to tell you something. Just a few weeks ago, Fox Sunday morning, Fox News Sunday, the power player of the week, one of the youngest members, or if not the youngest member of
I believe she is the youngest member, yes,
of Congress.
Yep.
She is a Republican in the North Country, covering areas just to the north of us in some spots. So there are people listening here right now who she is their congresswoman, and we'll be speaking with her. I do have to add one thing, and Jim, you don't have to pipe in because I don't want to drag you into this. I know you want to talk about something else. But Rob says, can't we get our own congresswoman on, Bill? And to that, I will go to Andrew and crickets. Andrew's not in the room right now. So I can only say to you, we reach out often, anytime there's a story, regularly. She refuses to come on the program because I am fake news. So, Jim, I appreciate the fact that you're willing to come on. And tell us about, you're blowing the whistle on trade wars in the Mohawk Valley. What is this?
Well, it started many years ago, Bill, as you know. The president is absolutely right. It's time for America first. And trade policies have been a mess. The president talked about this in the campaign. He's following through with everything he said he's going to do, and this is actually one of them. And actually, he's supposed to be signing that tariff bill today, I believe.
I got to tell you, though, you have 100, and I forget what the number is, over 100 members of Congress writing to the president saying, please don't do this. You have other economic experts. The majority of people out there are saying this is a bad move and it's going to cost us in the long run. Is everybody else wrong and the president and a handful right?
I'll tell you why, Bill.
Okay.
Go back a little bit in time in the 1990s. We were told that NAFTA was going to save us. It was going to bring economic boom to the United States, to the central New York area, to the Mohawk Valley. What the hell did it do? It destroyed our economy. It destroyed Mohawk Valley.
Well, I really think that our economy was on the decline long before NAFTA. But I do have to say to you, Pacemaker Steel is a great example. We've been declining for 50 years. NAFTA does not go back 50 years. Jim, Pacemaker Steel is a great example. They buy steel. They buy aluminum. This could very well hurt their business.
Well, okay, Bill. Where are they buying their steel and aluminum from?
I don't have the answer to that, and I'm assuming there's probably some Chinese steel that is purchased there. But the problem is, it's going to drive.
Not only Chinese, it's Canadian.
Canadian is the leading.
The president's got it right.
Canadian.
Let me explain what's going on here. We're generating a tremendous amount of scrap materials in the United States.
All right.
People don't know that. Right here in the Mohawk Valley, the recycling facility, we generate scrap. Where do you think all this stuff goes?
I don't know. Is it a quiz?
World trade. It's going to China. China has started this war. Last year, China made a policy. It's called the National Sword Policy. And they are restricting our recyclables, our materials that we're sending to their country so they could make the crap that they make and send it back to us.
Do you think there's any truth to the fact that we're going to save steel jobs but cost far more when it comes to people who are using steel and aluminum? Ultimately, the net gain or loss will be a net loss for the country. You don't agree? You don't agree with that?
It's true, Bill.
Huh?
Bill, I don't believe it's true. Let me read a statement from...
I don't want to hear your statement. I don't. I hate to say this, but this is just like the tax bill. There are people out there telling us that this tax bill is going to help New York. There are people out there telling us that it's going to hurt New York. Ultimately, isn't it true, Jim, that we really won't know until maybe another year down the road when we actually see the real effects of it? Same thing for this. If the president goes forward, you have an awful lot of people on both sides of the aisle saying this is a bad move and it will create a trade war, which will not be positive for the economy. I guess we'll have to wait and see, right?
Well, while we're waiting and seeing, China has their plan, and here's their plan. In 2019, through the replacement of all the imports by substitution with domestic sources of raw and recycled sources, this is what they're doing. They're going to push and stop all of trade with all of the raw materials that we're sending to them to make products that they could send back here.
All right.
But
it won't matter because it looks like the president's going to sign this, and he doesn't need Congress to do it.
Economy as well in the United States. The stuff that we're generating should go back to industry. Bill, you know about the paper mills. The paper mills have closed. You're lucky that the mill and the people that stuck it out for years in Little Falls stayed where they are.
Yeah.
But the paper mills all around us have closed.
Let me ask you one final question. What do you say to a pacemaker who's going to have to? There's a very good chance they're going to be. This is a Utica business. Buys steel and aluminum. What do you say to them if it's going to cost them more?
What I would say is let's keep it in a closed loop. We generate the waste material. It could go back to manufacturers right here in New York State, steel mills in New York State and Pennsylvania that could make the material and send it right back to the company that's purchasing it and selling it.
All right.
Jim, now it's a closed loop.
I wanted to ask you, what does happen? I know there's one over on North Jenny. What happens to their scrap? They send that to China, you're saying?
Yes.
I thought they melted it right there.
Look at all the recyclables. I've been marketing it for 30 years for Madison County. China is playing games with us. We're collecting agricultural plastic, which is a very difficult material to recycle. You know, we're trying to work on that plastics to oil or plastics to energy project, which I think ultimately we got to do. But in the meantime, we got to find markets for it. We were sending loads of our plastic to China. It's ridiculous that we have to do this, but that's the only markets that we have right now. So China is getting so stringent with their regulations, they're calling it the national sword. Before that, it was a few years back, it was called the green fence. Yeah. It was all baloney.
All right, I got somebody saying he is not signing today, and I can't read the rest of what he says. I will say the one thing, Jim... he might not know about Stewart's and things like that when he gets on these campaigns, but he does work with recycling in Madison County. That is his primary job. So, Jim, I appreciate your input. You do believe the president's going to sign this today?
Yes, I think he will, and I think it's going to protect our industries, and it's going to keep the loop closed. And, we're going to manufacture materials again and use our own raw materials instead of sending them to China.
All right, Jim, we appreciate it.